Good evening. Today is Monday. It is May 21st, 2012, and I will call this meeting of the Norfolk City Council to order. This is an open meeting, and posted in the northwest corner of this room is the actual Open Meeting Act, made accessible to all members of the public for reading. I would ask if you would stand, join us in a moment of silence, and as well the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll continue with roll call.
Coy.
Here.
Lange.
Here.
Merrill.
Here.
Clausen.
Here.
Murren.
Here.
Brenneman.
Here.
Faust.
Here.
Saunders.
Okay, and under action, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as was provided to you.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as before you. If you will please vote.
All council persons voting in the affirmative, except for Saunders is absent. And, oops, I'm sorry, excuse me.
You're right. Okay. I would say the motion carries, then, right? And then we'll look at the full agenda. I would ask again for a motion to approve the full agenda as before us.
So move, Your Honor.
Second.
A motion with a second to approve the full agenda as presented us. If you will please vote.
Council persons Coy, Lange, Merrill, Clausen, Murren, Brenneman, Faust. Voting in the affirmative, Saunders absent.
Okay. We'll go right then to special presentations. And the first one that we have is a proclamation for the week of May 20th through the 26th as Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas Emergency Medical Services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of Emergency Medical Service teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and the recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, and others, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills, and whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Sue Fookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, do hereby proclaim the week of May 20th through 26th, 2012 as Emergency Medical Services Week. That being said, it looks like there would be someone here to accept the proclamation and may have a word or two to express. Bethany took off with the actual paper, Scott, so I'll just let you go ahead and we know where you're at.
Mayor and Council, if I could take just a minute, one of the things you don't often, thank you, Councilman, one of the things I don't get often the opportunity to do, I can say it private within the halls of the fire station, but I don't often get the opportunity publicly to just say out loud how much I appreciate the men and women of the fire division. 1,861 times they responded in the last fiscal year for an EMS call. It is the predominant response mode. 85% of our calls from the fire division are EMS related. Usually represent somebody having their worst day. It gives me great comfort to have these men and women providing that service to all of you, and I'm proud to be able to be associated with them. So with us tonight is the B-Shift team, Captain Bettendorf and his crew, one-third of the emergency response force of our Operations Bureau, outstanding men and women, and I just wanted to publicly thank them for the work that they do, and I'm proud of each and every one of them. So I just wanted to share that with you all. So
I appreciate your being here, Scott, and certainly all of you right here in front of us. Again, I think I can only echo exactly what Mr. Cordes has expressed. May I also say to you, much appreciation for those that were able to join with us at the event this weekend as well at the bike park. And I know it takes a lot of people to make those things successful. You're a huge part of it. You certainly bring a lot of comfort to this community. And on behalf of all of us sitting up here, I will certainly let them express anything they choose to, but let me say thank you very much.
I can say I'd certainly like to attest to the fact that they do provide an extremely proficient service. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here.
Well stated, Chief. Okay, anyone else with any comments? If not, let's move on to the next proclamation, and that is for National Public Works Week. If I'm following the agenda right here. Okay. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives. And whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets and highways, public buildings, solid waste collection, and snow removal. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and the effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and the skills of public works officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff Public Works Department is influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work that they perform. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Sue Fookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim the week of May 20th through May 26th, 2012, as National Public Works Week in the City of Norfolk and the surrounding area. And I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public work officials make every day to our health, our safety, comfort, and quality of life. Is there someone that's going to come forward and accept this one? I actually have this one in hand, Dennis. So, and again, we'll look for you for a couple words.
Thank you, Mayor.
You bet.
I, too, would like to thank all the troops in the trenches that do the hard lifting on a daily basis, that provide us all the things we take for granted. Just want to say thanks to them, and thanks to the Mayor and the Council for this proclamation.
You're very welcome, and again, kudos to all of those that take care of us in those everyday needs that we, as Dennis states, sometimes we seem to take for granted, but certainly we appreciate all those that are making it possible to have what it is that we want and need. So,
Rotary Club.
all right, now we're looking for someone from the Rotary Club that's going to come forward and give us a presentation for a Music in the Park Festival to include use of a temporary stage and alcohol consumption in Skyview Park.
I'd like to thank the council for giving us the opportunity to present this. What we're looking at is the Norfolk...
Do me a favor, will you? We just need you to state your name for us, if you will, into the record. And
Okay, I'm Josh Wolf, and I'm a member treasurer of the Norfolk Noon Rotary here.
okay,
So-
thanks very much.
What we're proposing is to have a series of festivals this year, which would lead into an annual series of concerts out at Skyview Lake. This series would be held on waterfront, and it would be open to all public for a free event. Within this, the genre of music we would have would be jazz and blues type music, so it'd be low-key and easy listening for all of those who want to attend. Also at the event, what we would be requesting, although again low-key, would be alcohol consumption by those members there at the event. The alcohol that would be there that we would request is, again, sort of the easy listening feel of just a bottle of wine. Anybody can bring their own. We would not request to have alcohol sold there, and it would be contained within a defined area at the park. Currently, we have the designated location on the north side of the park, just south of the shelter house there on the waterfront. Within this, it's modeled after Omaha's Jazz on the Green. And Jazz on the Green allows within their park to have the alcohol consumption in Omaha, and it attracts over 10,000 people at each event. And this is held from June all the way through the end of August. Why are we proposing this? We feel that it's a need that Norfolk has. We need to keep people here in Norfolk, and we need to boost the economic development of Norfolk. And I feel that if people would go out and buy food to attend the picnic at this event, or they would go out and buy a bottle of wine, the economic development that we would see from that, although it would probably be a little minimal for the beginning, would be something that Norfolk would desire. Not only besides the economic benefit of that, it's something that we need just in spirit. The music is a great thing to have around us. People are happier when they're listening to music, and it's just a great atmosphere to mingle with. So I'm looking for support, and we have had tremendous support from the community out here, from a lot of respected members within the community that have felt that this is a desired need.
Okay. Council, questions for him or thoughts? Or
How long would this last? What time would you stop with the music?
Currently, we have 4 events planned out, and the music would stop at 3 of the events at 9 o'clock. We would go from 7 in the evening until 9 at night.
Okay. Thank you.
How do you propose to, you say if somebody wanted to bring in a bottle of wine, how do you propose to police exactly what they bring in?
We would have a team of security there with us, so that way we would monitor both the alcohol consumption and the entering and exit of the alcohol within the location.
So that alcohol is within a specific location?
Correct. Yes.
Defined by fences, or how would you do that?
We would define it by fences.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Do you have tentative dates?
We do. Currently, our tentative dates are June 21st would be the kickoff, which would be a Thursday night. July 7th, which would be hosted at the Big Bang Boom. There would be no alcohol consumption there whatsoever. This would be just an event. The music would be a little bit more continuous there, as we would start at 7 and go to 9:40 for the fireworks, and then we feel for the public safety of everybody due to the traffic congestion that we would have the band kick up again after the fireworks for about 30 to 45 minutes to keep people there and mingle around. We would also then have July 20th and August 10th.
okay.
So if you had a crowd of 4,000 people, do you feel like you have the staff to do the policing that you would think would need to be done?
I feel that we could get the staff for that, yes.
Okay.
With the support that we have had, I think that Norfolk would lend a hand to that and help us out with that. So,
Josh, clarify for me if I understood you right. You did make a comment that it would. What you're looking for is bottles of wine to come in. Are you limiting it to only bottles of wine?
we would not. We would state bottles of wine to keep the atmosphere at that level. But if somebody would request, is beer welcome, then of course, sure.
Okay.
So, but it's not something that we want to get out of hand.
So it's alcohol?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Is there any other questions?
Clean up afterwards, you guys
Yeah.
would take care of that?
Yes, 100%.
Have you talked to the police division about what their staffing levels may or may not to be for an event like that?
I have not yet. I have yet to convene with them.
But you have plans to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'd just like to make the statement, I think what you're trying to do is a good thing for Norfolk. I had an opportunity to be part of a group when I first moved back here 4 or 5 years ago, and we talked about things that need to happen within our community to, like you were talking about, economic development, maintaining and attracting people to our community. And this was exactly what some people had brought up during that meeting, so applaud the Rotary Club for your hard work on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would second Shane's comments on that as well. I think it would be good for the community.
Wonderful. Thank you.
If I could, I think there may be others that would certainly like to come forward and speak to this or add their remarks. I will say that I will let you, Clint, or Shane, there has been some discussion within staff with our local, certainly Chief Meiser, and maybe you want to add to that?
Yes, Your Honor. There has been, Clint and I and the bulk of the staff have really discussed this issue and offered to the Rotary Club to come and do exactly what they're doing tonight, make a special presentation to the community and to the council so that, you could hear firsthand, answer questions, and obviously you can't take an action tonight. So can kind of help them, guide them on their way to formulating the solid plan that they want to bring forward so the community can interact at a future, soon-to-be future meeting. We're obviously, if this would move forward as a community, we would be sticking our toe in the water of allowing alcohol, although limited, in our city parks. So, it's a thing that many communities do across the state. It seems like there are opportunities to do that in other communities, but it is a change. It's a change in what we've done in the past. Not necessarily a bad change, but a change of what we've done in the past. So we appreciated their interaction. They've been full of questions, the Rotary Club and the ladies and gentlemen that have inquired about this and been full of questions, and we try to answer those questions the best we can. But if they're not going to if they're not going to sell the alcohol, it's just a matter of waiving the ordinance that prevents the alcohol from being in the park, as you guys are aware. So.
Okay. Any other questions for Josh while we have him here? Thank you for being here on behalf of. Anyone else that wants to comment, come forward?
Your Honor, while Don's doing that, let me answer one of the questions that Rob asked. Josh said he hadn't talked to Chief Meisner. I've talked to Chief Meisner about that, so there has been that discussion. The other portion about this was that, just as a clarification, from the discussion that we had, it's our understanding that if this goes forward, what you would eventually see as far as an agreement is something that addresses the 3 of those 4 dates. The July 7th date is one that you've already made the contract with for those activities, and that would just be between the Rotary and the event organizers, which I see down there, so that wouldn't be something that would come back. And the third part of it was the way that we had talked about that was the discussion that within the defined area, there would be the alcohol involved. Because of where that area is, there would be the opportunity to ingress and egress from that area, but that alcohol other than that area would be prohibited. So that's a further explanation of what we had talked about.
Okay, thanks, Clint. Don?
Don Wisniewski, I'm currently president of the Big Bang Boom organization. Just wanted to share the fact that we're extremely proud to work or tie up with Rotary Club to do an event like this out at Boomfest. We're always trying to improve our event out there, raise the bar in some way, shape, or form. And having a great jazz headliner taking us right to Showtime would be a very good addition to Boomfest out there, and it'll be a great entertainment for the crowd that's out there. We bring a pretty decent-sized crowd out there, and a good opportunity for some good headliner to do this. But rest assured, we've asked the Rotary Club not to promote the alcohol out at Boomfest. We've never asked, and we never will ask for alcohol out there, because we tout it as the Northeast Nebraska's largest single-day event, which is a family picnic, and we want to keep it that way. And believe me, I'm the first one to want to take a beer out to Skyview Lake. But for this event, we have asked for that not to be part of Boomfest. The rest of the times is great. I think it's a great thing. But as far as Boom, we're in complete support of this and would love to have something like this added to it. So we want to see it happen too. So
I like your idea of after the event too, continuing on. I think that's a good idea, especially this year with the difficulty of trying to get folks out of there. So that makes a lot of sense.
Could alleviate some of the rush to try and get out of there and give a little bit of entertainment afterwards, just to slow it down just a little bit.
Good idea.
So
All
we've asked for your support when we support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Mayor and Council, I would add that over the years, as we've seen Big Bang Boom and the Christian Cross Festival set up and conduct their events up there, we have at times gotten some complaints about the music at Christian Cross after hours. When later it got, the worse it got for the neighborhood. So I think it goes without really saying, I guess, the positive attributes of this particular presentation of 7 to 9. That time frame is pretty workable for most of the neighborhood, I believe, because really the complaints seem to always come after 10:30 time frame. So I'll just add that I think when they look at the time frames, they were wise to choose those time frames.
And that's why I asked that question, Shane, because my phone does ring off the wall when the music's going past 10. You're up there on the lake, it's pretty open, and it carries really good. If the wind's blowing in the right direction, you can hear it for a mile or two, and the neighbors get a little upset. The one, where they're going to play late on a Saturday night, I think, so that's a little more tolerable than a Thursday night. So I think we'll be all right, but you're right, we got to be careful of that.
It is actually Christian Cross, I believe, this year changed from a Sunday to a Saturday to accommodate that very thing. People are more forgivable on a Saturday night than they are Sunday because they have to work the next day. There's folks that have to work the next day. So.
Okay. Anyone else that wants to come forward and give an opinion here? Or
If I may, I'm Chuck Balsiger, and I just appear as a citizen. I suppose sometimes when you see change coming this way, I'm reminded of the curmudgeon that says something like, I've seen a lot of changes in my life, and I've been again every one of them. But not in this particular case. I've had occasion to attend the festivals that are held in Omaha, and that's always been a very pleasurable experience. Most of the time, most of the people present are adults to start with. There are younger people there from time to time, and I'm sure there would be in this event. But I have to tell you that I'm all in favor of the idea that we have these jazz festivals as a community event, and I think it would be something that would be attractive to the community, and I think we'd see a lot of participation.
Thank you. I appreciate your statements there, Mr. Balsinger, and I certainly would tell you that I think the staff looks at this as change, certainly, but maybe more so as opportunity. So, anyone else?
Mayor and Councilman, I'm Rob Thomas, lifelong resident of Norfolk, and I just want to speak briefly to the fact that this is a community-supported event. It is true that the Rotary Club started talking about this quite some time ago, but we've had good support, not only from the city, so I want to thank Shane and Clint and the mayor, but we've also had support from the Chamber of Commerce. We've discussed this with Dennis. He's embraced this enthusiastically. We have touched base with the Visitors Bureau. Kim knows about it and supports it, and so does Kara Weander at the Arts Council. This is not just a Rotary project. So you do have strong community support for this, and we would appreciate your support. Thanks.
Thank you, Rob. Anyone else? Are they all going to the mic or out the door? That's quite all right. We know where you belong. Thanks again. Okay. All right.
I would like to make one more comment. I do want to warn the council that this is good for Norfolk. I just want to tell a little story that happened to me about 10 years ago when we voted to let the high school have a little band out there till about 9:30. I got a phone call from a young lady. I think her name was Corn, and she told me that I wasn't very smart for letting people play music out on the street and that, and reminded me that back when she lived across the street from Central Park, things like this didn't go on. And I go, why did they build that big square cement thing in Central Park? Well, we used to sit down and listen to music, and that was the shortest conversation I ever had because she just contradicted herself. So be prepared. You may get a phone call from some of the residents, but I think this is a good deal.
Thanks, Dave. All right, anyone else? Okay. Again, thanks all of you for coming out and sharing with us your thoughts on it. And certainly this looks to me like something that should move forward very positively. So again, I appreciate your being here. With that, we're going to turn to a recreation update.
We continue to make progress. I think we're down to the last 5 to 10% of the concrete left to be poured at both of the facilities, the baseball, football, and the aquatics facility. We've got water in the recreation pool. Going to start the circulation equipment and the chemical equipment this week and fine-tune that. hoping to fill up the wave pool at the end of the week or the first of next week and do the same there. Probably our worst hiccup right now is our floor guy's a little bit behind in the multipurpose building, so that's going to put a crunch on the electricians and the plumbers and some of my own street crews and others doing our fiber and telephone and some of those things because we can't get in the building right now. But hopefully they're down there working and we'll get it done this week. Starting to do some fine grading, putting the topsoil in planting areas. Should see planting coming before too long. So making a lot of progress down there. We'll be swimming in June and hopefully mid-June.
Going to hold you to that. Sheila, do you want to add anything to this at all as far as staffing? And you've been darn busy, I know, and you know, you might want to come on up and take a moment and just give us a little heads up on how it is that you're going to make all this work.
I shouldn't have come. Well, actually, we met with our staff this last week, and we've got a lot of young kids that are enthusiastic and excited about working here and doing all that stuff. And so I guess the thing that the message I really want to say is people will have to be patient with us because this will be kind of chaotic for us. Keep in mind in the pools that we've had in the past, we've got lots of schedules to figure out and how are we going to give lessons and how are we going to do all these sort of things. And so we told the kids that we'll start out one way, but we're apt to change it many times in the first week, the first month. And so that's probably the thing that I'd ask of the citizens is that we're works in progress on this, but we're all enthusiastic, waiting to go and looking forward to it.
Okay. Thanks, Sheila. With that, Dennis, you want to move on to 25th Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
There again, with the nice weather, we've been making a lot of progress. We've got full paving on both sides of the street from Taylor to West Side at this point in time. They're in there backfilling today. We've got sidewalks and some of those other things to do. They poured the west half of the street from West Side up to Norfolk Avenue today. Probably early next week they'll pour the east half of that. Contractor's been working away in the intersection doing utilities in that particular area of Norfolk Avenue and 25th Street intersection there. The bridge contractor has the south abutment finished. He's in the process of cleaning up his mess on that side and going to move over to the north side to start work probably the middle of this week. We made some more changes in traffic patterns up there. We've made a temporary rock access into that west parking lot for the Skyview Lake, and they're going to try to put the utilities in and do the paving from basically that park entrance all the way up to Hardison. Trying to move the project along.
Say that again.
From the entrance into the park, south to Hardison.
Okay. South to Hardison.
Past Maple
Yep.
and on up the hill
Great.
there. So hopefully that will come along and the weather will cooperate with us. Contractor is wanting to move forward and he's pushing every day trying to figure out how we can work within the confines of our environmental commitments to keep moving in other directions. So this is one of them, was the temporary access into the park and trying to move that piece along. So it's moving forward, and I guess I would answer any questions that anybody might have.
Councilman. Go ahead.
Dennis, I had a couple citizens ask me who basically live down on the west side area down there. The intersection of West Side, it probably won't be open before the intersection of Madison also, because I thought when I looked at it, I saw that the paving was south of the intersection of West Side and 25th Street.
It's split between them. The east side, we split, the east side's paved, the west side isn't, so more than likely we will have be all the way up to Madison before we open traffic in there. At least fully.
Thank you.
Any other questions on 25th Street?
And that's primarily becomes a safety issue for the workers out there trying to do sidewalks and those things. And, they kind of think they're working on a closed street, and all of a sudden there's somebody behind them or in the way, or not so much in the way, but, they don't see them there, and then we have those bumps, and we don't like those.
Yeah.
Mayor, I'd say it's another opportunity to politely ask for patience from our community too. As the phases go through 25th Street and that traffic pattern is in a state of flux there and changes from phase to phase, the traffic patterns definitely are going to have impact on people's emotions at times, at least for a few days until they get readjusted to their to and fro's across the community. So I would again politely ask for patience from our community as we make this progress and needed improvements.
Okay. Dennis, do you want to maybe hit upon the state of Nebraska and their efforts that's going to be coming forward soon? As a business owner, we received a little notice. Would you do that as well, just to advise?
Yes. Department of Roads is getting ready to work on Highway 81, 13th Street, from Paswalk Avenue south over the viaduct down to Sherwood Road. They're going to be doing some panel replacements, they're going to be doing some crack repairs, and then they're going to come in there and mill it out and overlay 2 to 3 inches through that stretch. Starting first Monday in June, I think. I also have an open house here for the property owners along that street in the next, is that this week? Next week? Tomorrow night? Okay.
Dennis?
What?
No, keep going. I'm sorry.
But there again, we'll ask for folks, attention to traffic areas, that there will be a lot of work going on in those areas, and that you just have to be aware of that, need patience. We're going to push all that traffic at times from 2 lanes into 1 lane. So if you have all...
But there won't be a complete closing of any parts of that. Is that a true statement? You'll always have the ability to stay on 81. You're not going to be detoured around.
I believe you will, but there again, there may be delay. There will be delays.
Yeah.
And I don't know of anything that would require a total closure of anything, but they'll be shifting them around, and probably one of the things that we have in this area is, at least from Omaha Avenue to Paswalk Avenue, they'll have the ability to do a little more shifting in that they don't have a median to deal with, which will help a little bit for their traffic controls and things.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Dennis, you mentioned the start date of that, and maybe I missed it. How long do you anticipate that taking?
Probably a couple months. It's don't hold me to that because it's the Department of Roads project, but that's just kind of the time frame, and maybe even a little longer. I'm not sure how their crews will progress through.
Better part of the summer, though.
Probably.
Okay. Thank you.
And actually, I think that open house is Wednesday evening.
You were correct, Jeff. I was thinking they were Tuesday.
Okay.
You're really trying to move this week along, aren't you, Dennis?
Friday?
No.
So the open house is 5:30 at the chamber office. I think it's an open house, come and go. Department of Roads and officials will be there to talk about the project and answer any specific questions you have. So,
okay.
Always welcome your attendance at those and try to get there.
Okay. All right. Anything else at all on all these projects we got going? All right, then let's move on to the regular agenda. And I would ask for a motion for consideration of approval of resolution number 2012-16, amending the City of Norfolk Economic Development Program guidelines and procedures as suggested by the Citizen Advisory Review Committee, and to incorporate the hiring of an economic development director by the city. We're going to look to you, Randy.
Your Honor, I would introduce Resolution 2012-16.
Second.
Thank you very much. Motion with the second. Go forward, Randy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe I can turn this over to Courtney. I think she was planning on discussing this
Courtney, I
with
apologize.
the Mayor and Council.
Please go forward. Introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thanks for having me. I'm Courtney Klein-Faust, and I'm the new Director of Economic Development for the city. I'm here to speak about Resolution 2012-16, which will amend the Economic Development Program Guidelines and Procedures. These changes were suggested by the Citizen Advisory Review Committee as a result of their recent meeting December of last year. You were given a report of their findings at your council meeting on December 19, 2011, but I'll just briefly go over what the changes to the guidelines and procedures for the Economic Development Program would be under this resolution. One would be to incorporate anti-pirating provisions of the statutes into our guidelines and the application for funding, and this is to prevent us from poaching employers from other cities in the state of Nebraska. Eliminate the requirement of Uniform Commercial Code financing statements as part of the application process. They are required later in the process, and so the recommendation is that they not be included as part of the application process, but that they merely be submitted later. Provide for job creation retention form to be submitted by applicants. In other applications, we've used a community development block grant form, but not every project will include a CDBG component. So we've created our own form. Changing paragraph 4.1 of the Economic Development Program, which references application documents, and that is to give economic development staff additional flexibility in determining what would be required for any particular project. Correction of some spelling errors in the original plan, and then again, as the mayor mentioned when bringing this agenda item to your attention, it also incorporates the fact that the city has now hired an economic development director, and so it replaces the Elkhorn Valley Economic Development Council with city staff in many instances.
Any questions for Courtney? Anyone? Okay. Thanks, Courtney, for being here. As you can tell, she hit the ground running, and certainly we've kept her busy since day one. I think, what was it, the second day we sent her out on efforts to do some work with our Washington delegates, and she knew the floors well out there too, so that was beneficial for us. So with that said, is there any other questions or comments that anyone might have on this? If not, we would ask for a motion. Oh, we got the motion. I'm sorry. Let's vote, please.
Councilpersons Coy, Lange, Merrill, Clausen, Murren, Brenneman, and Faust voting in the affirmative. Saunders absent.
Okay. Very good. And last on the agenda is consideration of approval of ordinance number 5211, amending section 24-164 of the official city code to prohibit parking on the east side of 27th Street from West Side Plaza Drive to Prospect Avenue, and on the north side of Prospect Avenue from 27th Street to 13th Street. I'm sorry. And on the south side of Prospect Avenue from 27th Street to 13th Street. Did I read that in there wrong?
I thought you said no.
Did I? Well, then, it's south side. All right, thank
Your
you.
Honor, I would like to introduce ordinance number 5211.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion with a second. Dennis, are you going to talk to this?
Yeah. This is related to the 25th Street construction project. As we're detouring, we're pushing more traffic onto 27th Street and Prospect Avenue, and feel that we'll just get better traffic flow if we restrict the parking to one side of the street on those stretches of street there. We tend to get bottlenecks of traffic when we get parking on both sides of the street, even though I think there is room for cars to meet in there. They won't do it. So we restrict it to one side of the street, we'll have room for traffic to free flow through there.
Okay.
So the ordinance doesn't mention whether it's permanent or...
The way to change it is to
bring it back as another ordinance and change it later.
And change it in the future if you so desire.
Okay, thank you.
Most of it, as I've observed over time, is there's not a lot of parking on the street in most areas, for the most part, and generally in one area, on one side, it'd be plenty, but we can always address it after the project is over again.
Just to make clear, our intent is to change it back at the end of construction. Right.
If you'd like to, Councilman, thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, then we have a short title, Bethany.
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 24-164 of the official city code to prohibit parking on the east side of 27th Street from Westside Plaza Drive to Prospect Avenue and on the south side of Prospect Avenue from 27th Street to 13th Street, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for the publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Okay, and with that, I would ask for your vote on the amended.
Councilpersons Coy, Lange, Merrill, Clausen, Murren, Brenneman, Faust voting in the affirmative, and Saunders is absent.
Your Honor, as this is an ongoing situation with the construction that's going on, I would move that we suspend the rules and pass it on second and third.
I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion with a second to suspend and pass on second and third. Any further discussion? If not, will you please vote?
Councilpersons Coy, Lange, Merrill, Clausen, Murren, Brenneman, Faust voting in the affirmative, Saunders absent.
Okay. That being said, seeing nothing further on the agenda, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. More active.